This is my last video before I pull for Bernice. Some of you may know I've lost every 50-50 in Zenless Zone 0 so far. I've pulled for every character, so that's 5 straight losses, which is, that's impressive. We're halfway to our record already. So before we begin with today's video, please join me in a quick prayer. Dear gotcha gods above, we are gathered here on this frosty Tuesday evening to threaten you. If I do not win the 50-50 for Bernice, I'm coming up there and I'm rat torturing you niggas. Keep yourselves safe. I wish you the worst, and have a miserable day, you soon-to-be rat-loving bastards. Of all the things we learned about in 5.1, the most unexpected was most certainly the bit of information regarding the curse of immortality, because it seems Dainsleif lied to us. Now, I'm sure he wouldn't categorize it as a lie, but would rather, I was under no obligation to tell you everything about the curse, but before we can get into the oddities regarding the curse, first we must discuss what is the curse of immortality. And it's quite simple, maybe. Officially, it's a curse that was placed on the Khaenriahs for the cataclysm. This is quite literally all we know. When it was placed, and more importantly, who placed it, has never been mentioned.
A curse of immortality was laid upon him to forever wander the wilderness.
This wretched curse of immortality. Who knows how long I must continue to suffer like this? The curse. It was a little gift given to the people of Khaenriah by those vile gods.
The closest we ever got to a connection between curses and the heavenly principles, who I guess is the prime suspect, was when the sibling went rambling about khaenriah.
You could say that. Just look at khaenriah. He was so pure and single-minded. The space we now find ourselves is a perfect representation of who he was. Quiet and peaceful. Even as a hilly churl, seeing the terrible sight within the mirror wasn't enough to taint his spirit. He brought comfort to the people of this world, even though he was denied the very right to be a part of it. So ask yourself this. Who was it that deprived him of that right to exist?
I know what's crazy about that dog. In the entire spiel, she completely failed to mention that the Abyss Order, her Abyss Order, killed khaenriah to make the Loom of Fate. Ain't that wild, dog? In any case, no one has ever come out and said the heavenly principles came and levied the curse against the Khaenriahs. Now, I wouldn't doubt that they did, but look, all I'm saying is a whole lot of abyssal energy they was messing with, man. One wrong turn here, one wrong turn there, and before you know it, immortality. Look, it wasn't exactly a shock the niggas who were near Chernobyl when it went kaboom got cancer. But when it comes to the Abyss, you fuck around, you find out. Hell, no one finds it odd the curse of the wilderness is laden with abyssal energy. The one thing Celestia has fought against time and time again. I don't know, look, all I'm saying is eyes wide, can't lose. That aside, here's a fun fact. We currently only know of 3 Khaenriahs of old in the modern era. Dainsleif, Pierro, and the Captain. We've only met Dain and Capitano, so we can only really study the effects of the curse on those two. Whilst with Pierro, we can only make, a surface-level analysis, which in this case should be enough. Because the Captain revealed something very interesting with regards to how the curse of immortality affected him that doesn't apply to neither Dainsleif nor Pierro.
Even without the mask, my past appearance is long gone. Even with the curse of immortality, the flesh still rots.
The flesh still rots. Thank you, Capitano, for being brave enough to come out and give your account of things. The reason he wears the armor is because he states his body has completely eroded. Now, my friends, what if I told you there's a slight possibility the Captain is lying and his body hasn't eroded? Do y'all remember Miko's description of the Captain? Quote, and right in the middle of the enemy formation was a dark, distinct silhouette. Even though torches lit the area, Mika could see nothing but their eerily dark blue eyes that seemed to glow with an uncanny aura. This is obviously problematic, as one would assume 500 years later this nigga's eyes would be completely gone, but, you know, maybe we were under the wrong assumption, and eyes take a good amount of time to decompose. So I did some external reading, came across a study on post-mortem iris decomposition, which, by the way, it was for the purpose of seeing how reliably they could identify people's eyes after they've been dead compared to teeth, as is usually done. Now, as the name suggests, the study was more, you know, iris-focused than whole eyeball-focused, which, you know, in this case is fine. So anyone want to wager a guess, huh? How long does it take for an iris to decompose? The iris is good for about 33 days after death. After that, so yeah, where these blue eyes came from, I have no idea. I'm just going to assume this is an oversight on the writer's part, or, you know, it could be he's got some Ghost Rider shit going on. Or the captain lied to us. His flesh hasn't rotted, and like a true Fatus, he's been playing us this whole damn time. No. The captain would never. So what's going on here? Why is it the captain had his body disintegrated whilst Dain and Pierro march ever on? Well, according to him, he has no idea, at least when it comes to Dainsleif.
As for your question, I don't know how Dain managed to slow the deterioration of his body.
And I mean, I guess he never took it upon himself to just turn to Pierro after like 200 years and go, hey, why the fuck you still got your skin, nigga? So let's try and answer the question ourselves, but first, let's look at Dainsleif's explanation of the curse of immortality.
For centuries, I have suffered daily from the curse that was laid upon me. But here, I suddenly feel a small amount of relief from this suffering. How is this possible? How could he have retained self-awareness for 500 years without it? The curse of immortality denies death to those afflicted with it. And yet, it does not truly mean that they will never die.
So, you mean there's a way to undo it?
No. I mean that the body and soul will continue to be eroded until they are virtually non-existent, even if death is not the form that this erosion takes.
So, that means the water in that pool can wash away the curse for good?
No. That would be impossible.
How are you so sure?
I have lived with this curse for 500 years, and I have been fully conscious the entire time. Suffice to say, no one understands the curse like I do. It is a way of branding us at the level of the fate of the world itself. When a god applies a curse, it takes effect at a higher level of reality than the person themselves. Even now, I can feel the curse slowly permeating my entire being, becoming part of me, slowly but surely replacing me. Perhaps it may be possible to suppress the corrosive effect of the curse for a time, but cleansing it entirely, consider it tantamount to burning away an integral part of your body. It is not a process that one could ever hope to survive.
Huh? Cleansing the curse cost you your life? Whoa. An irreversible curse! Paimon can't even imagine!
Now, it is worth immediately pointing out, Dain did indeed state the body erodes. Why his didn't, he never stated, so let's discuss. There's two things to take away from his comments aside from that, and it's what is it that's Halfdan didn't have, and the consequences for removing a curse. Let's talk about the latter first, because I'd argue we are more knowledgeable than Dainsleif when it comes to curses of the gods. In this quest, the curse of immortality was being built up as some sort of irreversible curse. I use that terminology because Paimon did, and Dain didn't correct her. Dain stated it was impossible to cleanse the curse from the body, and that by doing so, it'd be tantamount to burning away a part of the body. Whether or not this is true, I have no idea. However, the idea that the curse is irreversible seems silly, especially if it came from a god. We've seen another person get cursed by a god, because that's what Focalor did to Furina. In order to enact her grand plan, Focalor cursed the human Furina to ensure she'd live for 500 years, the same amount of time Dainsleif and others have been cursed with immortality. And she did this by making it so as long as Focalor's divinity raged on, so too would Furina. She was immortal. And then the divinity went poof, and so too did the curse. Now this has, potentially worrisome implications for me if the heavenly principles were the ones who, threw down their curses, because if it took Focalor dying for the curse to be lifted, then we could see where the implication might go with this, and it's not exactly a wholesome one. Now, there is an argument to be made about a blanket curse of immortality being applied to the Khaenriahs versus the contingent curse of immortality applied to Furina, and that is a fair argument. However, from what we've seen, it might not be entirely impossible for the god who applied a curse to remove said curse. And now on to the other point, what is it? We have no idea. All these years later, and we still don't know. But pay attention to his wording, because it might have actually revealed something. Dane is wondering how it's possible Halfdan could have kept his self-awareness without whatever it is. We learned earlier there's two parts to the erosion one endures with the curse of immortality. One is to the soul, which probably encompasses self-awareness, and the other is to the body. If retaining self-awareness requires it, then why wouldn't the same be true of the physical being? Maybe both Dainsleif and Pierro have something that the captain doesn't, and it could be this thing is what allows them to hold on to their body a bit longer. When it comes to Dainsleif, Pierro, and the captain, it's important to keep something in mind, and it's their respective statuses within Khaenriah. Pierro was a royal mage of Khaenriah who not only lived with our sibling, the prince/princess, but also had contact with the king. He was a high-ranking official within Khaenriah. Dainsleif was the Twilight Sword of Khaenriah, one of the 6 greats of Khaenriah, and the captain of the royal guards. He left Khaenriah with our sibling, the prince/princess. And then there is the captain, who so far as we know was merely a commander within the Khaenrian army who had a platoon of men. He only knew Dainsleif by name, but did seem to suggest at the very least he met our sibling, which, to be fair, is some sort of accomplishment by Khaenriah's standards. Or Khaenriah Clothar's, fuck me. It seems interesting to me that the 2 high-ranking members of Khaenriah both have their body, whilst the more ordinary one does not. It seems like they know, or have, something he doesn't. This thing could very well be a power from beyond.
Some say a few are chosen and the rest are dregs. But I say we humans have our humanity. We will defy this world with a power from beyond. Now.
Which we know Dainsleif has, he isn't hesitant to pull that shit out. We know the sibling has, impossible for us to say if Pierro has it. But given he was a mage, it seems likely. These niggas, bro, they weren't getting visions. Fuck no, they weren't getting no visions. So what else could it be? What the fuck else could it be a mage of, if not, a power from beyond? For some reason, however, the captain doesn't seem to have a power from beyond. He's never once hinted he's in possession of it, nor has he once used it. The only indication he may have it are the hints of dark blue and purple on his outfit, but if this was indeed a power reserved for the upper percentile of Khaenrian citizens, it makes sense why the captain hasn't used it, and it could be because he just doesn't have it. Another possible thing that may separate the 3 is the masks. I say possible because this one is tough. While yes, they all have masks, Dane and Pierro's are different compared to the captain's. The captain wears a helmet because, he's just bone at this point. Dane and Pierro wear a half mask that serves an unknown purpose. Now, to be fair, Pierro's kind of seems like, well, I'm a fucking clown now, time to dress the part! While Dane's is completely unknown. As for how a power from beyond could in part nullify the curse, we've no idea, but Dane did say it's a power that would defy the world. So it's gotta count for something, folks.